Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to Thrinchie Number 2. So I've got my 3-inch piece of card. I'm now stocking these in the shop and you're all loving them and I'm really grateful, so thank you very much. And I have to say I think I'm going to get addicted to Thrinchies because they're so cute. Anyway, this was our first one, our first Thrinchie, so we're going to do our second Thrinchie, and it's just a little cute ideas to use our stamps and products. Now in this one I used the Ecoline brush pens, turquoise blue and Prussian blue. If you don't have Ecoline pens, use any pens that are reactive to water, or use your oxides, whichever you want to use. So what I'm going to do is do a page to coordinate with that, and I'm going to, do you know, I'm sure I grabbed my low tack tape. I was about to say then, I did. So I'm going to take some low tack tape and I'm just going to add the low tack tape towards the bottom. We don't do measurements here, do we? Well, Tracy doesn't because she's hopeless with measurements, so forget that. So just towards the bottom with a little gap here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the lightest colour, which is the turquoise blue. Oh, do you like that little bit of squeaking? I do apologise for the squeaking. A little bit of the turquoise blue, and we're going to add some Prussian blue as well. So let's add little touches of the Prussian blue as well. Let's move our little book out of the way, or whatever you're using. And I'm going to spritz my acrylic block with water. And I'm just going to grab a little piece of kitchen roll, because what happens is the moisture, really, I should have put a piece of kitchen roll underneath the acrylic block, because what happens is it causes a suction because the moisture underneath the acrylic block stops you from, that's it. So what I'm going to do then is just place this ink just onto the card like so, just to create a nice little background. And what I would do is I'd have a spare piece of card or another Thrinchie. Obviously I want to do different Thrinchies each time, but you can either have another Thrinchie on one side, or I'm using a piece of 4x6 inch card for anything that I want to mop up. You can just again add a little bit more colour if you wish, and then I'm just going to add the rest of the colour just to my Pink Frog 4x6, and I'm just going to just spritz that with water, so then this can become another background that I can add to. What I'm going to do then is just wipe across the low tack tape. Now what you will find is the moisture will just seep slightly under your low tack tape, which I quite like because it gives it sort of a feathered look. So what I'm going to do then is dry. So I'm just going to dry this. Now, if you let it dry naturally, you will get a whole different feel, because you'll get this dark area here that will remain dark. You can sort of aid that by, when you use your heat tool, don't bring it down too low. If you bring it down too low, say that you like that dark area there, if you bring it down too low, it moves that moisture all over the place. If you want to dry it gently, just leave your heat tool up here. You can also just sort of, let's take a little bit of water here and a brush. You can also pick up a little bit of the water, and you can sort of create cauliflowers, I call them, onto them, because the water wicks out into the colour and creates like cauliflowers. So I'm going to just heat this gently, and I'm heating quite high up, and you can see that because the heat tool is right in your way, which is just perfect when you're demonstrating. But what I'm trying to do is not heat too much so that it's too blowy. So I'm just heating this from high up, because what that will do is it will keep this dark patch here if I go down, I'm going to do it for you. If it was really flowing with moisture like it was at the beginning, it would move. Now I've heated most of it dry, it's not moving, which is perfect, because what you get now, let's just lift this up. The biggest piece of low-tack tape on the planet. Let me explain. So this dark patch now, if I went down too quickly with the heat tool, to just flick it everywhere and it'll come down here. I've kept that dark area there, which I like, and the dark area here. And I've got these little cauliflowers, as I call them. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. There we go. So I want us to be able to use all our products that Tracy has recommended in the past. I want us to be able to use those and not have them gathering dust. So let's move this here. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to take the Prussian blue and I'm just going to go along the edge, just there, just along the edge here, like so. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of water and I'm just going to wick that out a little bit, and if it doesn't move, that's it, just spritz it with water, just so that you've got sort of a darker edge to the edge of that washi, not washi, low tack tape, keep calling it washi. So it's just a little bit darker towards those edges. Again, you can use your oxides, but I want us to use the products that we have in our stash. Can you see where I've gone to the edge? It's now wicking up underneath the low tack tape to give it like sort of a feathery edge. You get some low tack tapes that really seal the edges and you don't get that bleed. But because I'm heating with the heat tool, it will reduce the tackiness of that low tack tape, which is perfect. Let's remove this now. And can you see I've got a little bit of bleed now, which adds to the overall effect. And now I'm going to blot. Just blot any excess now off there. So we've got a wonderful little background for our Thrinchie. Okie dokie. So then I'm going to take my TE32. I'm going to take the TE32, and I can't decide which little critter I'm going to use. I don't want to use the little mice. See that? I think I'm going to use the pheasants this time. So let's use the pheasants, and I can use them both together. So I can decide how close or how far away I would like to have them. So I think I'll have them quite close. Now, the idea with the Thrinchies is you can adapt these ideas into cards if you wish. And I'll just show you what I mean. Let's move this out of the way. So I'm going to take my black, my Nocturne ink, give that a lovely pat the ink so that you get a really good layer of that ink. Let's just remove that excess from there. And then what I'm going to do is just add my little pheasants just there, like so. Now I've got ink on there and I've got moisture on the card. So just allow that just to sit a few moments. Just give it a few seconds just to sit on there. Don't be in too much of a rush to lift that. There we go. And we've got our lovely pheasants just on there, which just works rather nicely. And then what I mean by is you could quite easily create a card, is you could place this sort of on the background like so, even at a slant or there or straight. And then you could sort of add the word pheasant underneath with a bit of this colour peering through. So there's lots of ideas. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take the little tag from the Alpha Florals and I'm going to grab a scrap of card. Come on, Tracy, hopefully there's a scrap of card. the biggest scrap of card you've ever seen. So I'm then going to add this to my little acrylic block. I'm going to take this, I'm going to add this to the background. Now you could stamp directly onto the card if you wish, because we don't want too much bulkiness in our little journals, but this is not that bulky, so it shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to cut out the little tag like so. Let's cut out that. There we go. We're then going to add a little bit of colour. So I'm going to go with the Prussian blue. Just blend out those lines with the turquoise blue. Add a little bit of the turquoise blue here, and then we'll just blend that out with a little bit of a diluted colour, just so that that is slightly diluted. You can go back in with a little bit more of the turquoise if you wish, because there's still moisture in there, and we can just blend that out. There we go. You don't need much colouring onto that at all. So let's remove our little tag, and then again from the same stamp set I'm going to, let's remove that one. Is it this one? Yes. So I'm going to take this little pheasant here. Just going to use a piece of copier paper just for the edge, just right at the edge there. Move this out of the way, and then I'm just going to add the pheasant like so, just peering off there with a little bit of the pheasant on there. Then I'm going to add the letter P. So where are you? Takes me ages to find the letter P. Where are you? LMNOP. Come on, Tracy. So grab the letter P for pheasant. And you don't need much ink, and you don't need much pressure. Just a little light press. I love doing things like this. So I'm then going to add this just to the top here. Just going to adhere that to the top. I love doing simple things like this. Just makes me happy. Let's just add this to the top. Just bringing it down a little bit, because then I'll just use a black pen just to sort of connect it to the top, like so. Now I'm just going to see, just before we carry on, let me see if I can use my white pencil just to add touches of white. It's not going to be white enough, I don't think. So I'm going to use my Posca pen, and I'm just going to add very sort of delicate touches of white just to the pheasant, just little touches of that. And then I'm just going to emphasize a little bit of shading just under there. Now don't forget, these are just snippets, well, they're not the snippets, but they're just little ideas. They're our Thrinchies that we can all join in together and enjoy, just little bits of inspiration. So we can just enjoy our little bit of inspiration. Just add a little bit of shading around here. like so. And now, if you take, where are we, number 10, where are you? So if you take stamp set number 10 and you add this heart to the top, well, on no acrylic block, obviously. What am I doing? So I'm getting all carried away because I'm enjoying them. So if you add this heart, you've now got an idea for an alternative anniversary card. So let's just add that here. Again, you're going on to that background that's got lots of moisture on there. So just give that a little bit of time. And then we're going to add, I would give that a little blot because you're on that wet background. So just give that a little blot. We'll add a little bit of moisture, Inktense pencil. I won't get my words out. Just add a little bit of Inktense pencil just to the heart, just so that that's got a little bit of shading. And then we want to add touch of white, don't forget this one here. And then I'm going to add some little splatters. There we go. Let's bring in our little book. And we can't forget to do the edges on this, but we'll do that in a second. So if we bring in this, we've done the white splatters on there, so that's perfect. I couldn't remember whether I'd done the white splatters or not. So I'm just going to dab that one there, and I'm going to take my black Posca pen, but this time, because we'll just do our faux matte, I'm going to use the copier paper. And I showed you in the previous video how to put a piece of card along the edge if you're worried about making a mess. So just adding a little faux background. Nobody in the right mind would add a faux matte whilst the Posca pen is still wet. You would wait until that's dry. But I'm nobody in the right mind. We all know that. There we go. So you've got your little faux matte. And then bring in your little book. And we can add this to our little Thrinchie book, which I will add once it's dry. And let me just add another little touch of white to here. Again, just so that that stands out a little bit. So you can reiterate your touches of white. And that is Thrinchie number 2, which Tracy will stick down once this is all dry, because we don't want to place our fingers all in that moisture. But that is Thrinchie number 2. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll join me along the journey. Love to all. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.